I started on this journey advocating for families who were victims of police abuse, who didn't have the words to say when they were asked, what do you want? What do you want to happen next? Of course, they always say they want justice and accountability, but I think a lot of times when people say that, they don't really know what that means specifically. So my name is Cheryl Dorsey. I'm a retired 20-year veteran sergeant of the Los Angeles Police Department. I spent all 20 years in patrol, in uniform as a patrol officer. I wanted to speak to what I think would maybe stop the bad behavior on the part of police officers, and also to give the community who has an onus, a part to play in this, the tools and skill set needed to survive a police encounter. Because we hear so many times folks saying, well, if they would have just complied, why did they run? Why didn't they turn around? All of those things are problematic, but all of those things are also inherent to what we do as police officers. We are accustomed to dealing with uncooperative, non-compliant suspects. And that's what I saw happening. Officers not using deadly force as we're trained and taught as a last resort, but more as a tool of punishment because someone had the temerity to speak back or to not move quick enough to obey an order that an officer was given. What we're seeing make national news is not anything new. Black and brown folks have been complaining about these kinds of atrocities for years, but we didn't have the advent of the cell phone and video recording until, well, 1992, when we saw Rodney King be viciously beaten by 4 LAPD officers. And that was the first time that anyone had a real glimpse as to what could occur, what was occurring, what folks had been complaining about, but were just minimized and mitigated the bad behavior. They were foo-fooed away and sometimes just summarily run out of a police station if you came in to file a complaint. And so it has been my effort and others like me to educate the community, educate our peers, because some of them are desensitized and come to this job with bias. They don't understand why Black and brown folks feel the way that we do still today. And the reason that we do is because still today, there is no accountability. The work that needs to be done certainly is going to have to occur, I believe, at the local level, at the state level, at the municipality. I encourage people, if you have beef with your police department, I say get on it. So until you have officers who are on the department who look like me, until you have officers who are held accountable, and part of that has to do with qualified immunity, this is going to continue. When you say defund the police, be careful what you ask for, because when community says defund the police, I promise you it means something very different to a police chief when he agrees to defund. I can promise you as a patrol officer, I don't care how you reallocate money. $150 billion was taken out of the LAPD coffers, if you will, and supposedly going to be moved around in areas that was going to appease the protesters and the activists here. But what really happened is that underserved communities, Black and brown communities, are going to be adversely affected. Because why? Well, now when you have certain calls for service, the police are not going to come. The only time police departments here in the United States really make an effort to pretend to do something different is when they're under a consent decree. That's getting involved and getting engaged. It's very easy to sit on the sidelines and complain, but if you're not willing to roll up your sleeves and do the hard work, every police chief serves at the pleasure of a mayor, and all mayors are elected. And elected officials understand one thing, and that's votes. And so if you're not being served in a manner that enhances your quality of life, addresses those concerns and issues, then maybe you need to have your voice be heard at the ballot box.